It's me again. We're gonna look at a Sherwin-Williams paint color today, and I love it because it's sort of this earthy, taupey gray that is more versatile than you think. The color number is SW7642, and the name is Pavestone. Welcome to Color Quickie, where we talk all about a very specific paint color, go into how I would recommend you use it in your home, and also give you some color pairings, basically an entire color palette that you can use in your home for free. The only payment I require is you watch the video, maybe share it with your friends, and you can press the like button too, if you like it. But that's not an actual prerequisite. You can just click it to click it. So right off the bat, this is a color that was recommended by one of my subscribers. Thank you for recommending it. I enjoy this color, and apparently a lot of people do, because you can see on the Sherwin-Williams website that this is one of their expert pick colors. It doesn't necessarily mean a whole lot to you and I, but what we do know is, in the grand scheme of things, this is a color that's used quite often. It's pretty desirable, and it's neutral, which is, I think, part of the reason it's popular. Neutral colors tend to be more versatile, I would say, just because they're not too polarizing in terms of being really bright, vibrant, colorful. They're naturally muted and dialed back in their coloration, and Pavestone is honestly no exception to that rule. Now, before we get into some ideas on how you can use this in your home, let's talk about some technical elements of Pavestone first. The number one most important thing that I talk about when it comes to analyzing colors is figuring out how dark or light it is. And the way we do it is we look at the LRV, light reflectance value. This is the percentage of light that any color reflects from 0 to 100. And Pavestone is a 32, so literally the bottom third darkness-wise. You could define it as a dark color. You could also define it as a very dark mid-tone. It's sort of kind of on that line, teeter-tottering between the two. Generally speaking, colors that are in this range and darker, they're not going to be main colors that you're going to paint your hallway with, probably. I would say they're more suitable for secondary spaces, rooms that get a little more light, or, believe it or not a lot of light, because then you're going to lean into that moody, dramatic darkness of the color. But even though its darkness can sometimes be a limiting factor, its coloration isn't. Being part of the neutral family, you're not going to have a color that's going to really pull focus in any abrupt way. There are some undertones that you need to be aware of, because sometimes neutral colors can give you the most problems because you're expecting one thing and you get something else. At its core, Pavestone is sort of this taupe coloration a little bit, mainly gray mixed with some brown. So it is warmer leaning on the gray side of things, but you also sometimes have the tendency to see a little bit of green as an undertone, but that's going to be dependent on your lighting and your surroundings. Sometimes the color looks a little more gray. Other times it looks a little more warm and earthy, depending on everything that's going on. It is sort of volatile in that sense, so please be sure to test this one out. You gots to. Pavestone has been featured in a variety of Sherwin-Williams color collections, and that sort of validates it as a color in my mind. It's also a fine interior and exterior color choice if you want to use it on the main body of your home, if you're going something for a little bit more rich, not super dark, but not an off-white either. Pavestone is a great choice for that. You can also use it as a darker exterior trim color too. You can use it on garage doors if you want something a little softer but still contrasty for lighter colors. There is a lot you can do with this color. But if I'm not recommending it for the hallway, and the hallway needs to be painted, what kind of other colors can we pair with Pavestone? Well, guess what? I got you. I got 3 wall colors and 2 trim color options to complete this whole set of choices. The first one we're looking at is modern gray. And even though gray's in the name, yes, it has some gray mixed in to settle it down, but kind of like Pavestone. It's warmer leaning, it is a little more earthy, a bit taupey, has that brown aspect to it, but because it's lighter, it's going to feel a little more light, a little more buoyant, airy, and open. And what's great about it is its LRV is 62, and that's a great place to be because it's not too light, definitely not too dark, especially compared to Pavestone. So this is a color that you can use in those areas where maybe you don't want something really moody and just dramatic like Pavestone can sometimes be. This is a color that can absolutely be a hallway color. You can use it in all the open connecting areas of your home. And then you have Pavestone as that sort of supportive accent color. Really, they are kind of in the same family, although Pavestone can sometimes show a little more green than modern gray, in my experience. but they're still very much two peas in a pod. The next color is a little bit different actually for Color Quickie. I'm not gonna go darker or more moody. I'm actually going brighter. And the second pairing is called Creamy.
Creamy. So creamy beige.
So if you know Sherwin-Williams, you probably know this color. It's an off-white, very much creamy. The name sort of explains it all. It has that kind of bright, very soft, mellow yellow undertone to it. Extremely beautiful color. I love it. And it is going to be much brighter than the other colors. An 81 LRV, so basically the top echelon of brightness for colors. So it's not going to be something that maybe you're going to paint everywhere, but in those areas of your home where you really want that sort of just angelic feel, just like, oh, open and bright and warm and inviting. Creamy is a great choice. The only thing that I will say, the reason it's the second color pairing is because choose wisely where you use it. It does reflect 81% of the light that hits it. There's going to be a lot of light coming off the walls in a creamy room, so just be mindful of that. Maybe not my first choice for something like a sunroom or a solarium where you have tons of window light. It'll just be way too overpowering and maybe you won't want to spend too much time in that room because it'll feel like you have a giant spotlight on you all the time. But for a nice, clean, warm look, creamy is a great choice. Onto the accent color, and I love this color. It's called Riverway. LRV of 16, so much darker than the rest of the colors, even Pavestone. This is a beautiful combination of a bit of navy blue, a bit of dark teal, and then some gray to sort of dustify it, to just tone it down a little bit, desaturate it slightly. But compared to the other neutrals we talked about, this one's gonna feel very saturated, but still fits really, really well. You do have that touch of a green coming from the teal, which works really, really well with the green aspect that sometimes shows up in Pavestone. And I just love this color because it gives you some color hue, so you're gonna see some color rather than just muted neutrals everywhere. But it's not going to feel out of place either. Great choice in those rooms where you want just that pop somewhere. So maybe your furniture is actually pretty neutral as well, and you just need something else. Riverway is a great wall color. You can use it in accent wall form. You can use it in a powder room. You can use it anywhere you want to accentuate. This will do it. Time for baseboards, doors, and trim, all that good stuff. I have two options. One is the more traditional off-white choice, and then I have a darker option too. The first one is pure white, and this is going to be the go-to choice for a lot of people. I tend to see white baseboards being more common than dark ones, so this is probably a good choice for a lot of you. But if you do want something a little more moody and rich, you can go with something like Manor House, which kind of like Pavestone has that brown aspect and a bit of gray mixed in, but the ratios are different. A lot more brown here, kind of a dark chocolatey feel. Not a lot of that green here either, so it's going to feel a little more like dark espresso or Americano, that kind of feel. It's not insanely dark either, so with an 11 LRV, it's not much off of Riverway in terms of darkness, but it's still going to contrast pretty much anything else you throw at it on the walls. If this is on your baseboards or even on your doors alone, you'll really notice it. Here's the palette all together. Let me know what you think. We got some more videos right over here. Keep the colorful times rolling.